Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the December 2024 monthly update. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come once again to the end of the year. This is for me at least, this has been a pretty good year. What more can I say? Obviously, the world, things have happened, a certain orange individual has been elected president again, but I don't care. I don't care. If America wants to kill itself, it can do that. Well, it's mainly dead anyway, isn't it, that crap hole? Anyway. Hello, I keep looking up there because that's where my face is, but I shouldn't be looking in the camera. Hello! Anyway, things that I've done this month. Now, I've taken, as anyone who's been paying attention will know, I took December off from the gaming channel. So uploads will be resuming tomorrow, literally tomorrow, at 4 PM GMT, as usual. A video will be going up on the gaming channel, and we'll be resuming my regular 3 video a week thing. I said I was taking December off to work on the short film. I worked very little on the short film, so that isn't really why I took the break. Well, I suppose it is why I took the break off. It's not why I kept the break going, though. I basically just wanted a break from it. Don't ever want it to get boring, so I took a break. That's why. Anyway, so that's that. I've gotten back into reading quite a bit recently. I've read... I mean, it doesn't sound impressive when I say it like this. I've read 3 books in December. That doesn't sound impressive until you realise that one of them is the Illuminatus trilogy, which is actually 5 books. It's called a trilogy, I know, but it's actually 5 books. So I've actually read 7 books this month. I've set up an account on a website called the Story Graph, which is a thing like you can use to track your reading, and it gives you like statistics and stuff like that, and it looks pretty cool, so I'm going to try that out. I've done it for this month. In fact, I can read out this to you, if you'd like. So I have read 3 books this month, which consists in total of 1,178 pages, which is pretty cool. The 3 books I have read this month are the Illuminatus trilogy, as I just said, Millennium by John Varley, which is like a time travel thing involving aeroplanes, and Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is the novelization of the television serial of the same name. Statistics, let's see what I've got here. So it on average has taken me 9 days to finish a book, but again that's heavily weighed down by the Illuminatus trilogy, which took me about 4 weeks, because it is 800 pages long, as I just said. My most read moods are adventurous and mysterious. The books are mostly medium paced, they are mostly under 300 pages, they are all fiction, all science fiction. I rated the Illuminatus trilogy 4 stars out of 5, and both Millennium and Doctor Who and the Daleks 3.5 stars out of 5. So there. I might do a video actually showing off those statistics at the end of next year, because at the end of this year I've obviously read more than that many books, but I've only started actually tracking them in December. So we'll see how that goes. I intend to read at least 1 book a week next year, so that's at least 52. So that's my goal for next year, my reading goal. And I think I can probably do it. I mean, I'm definitely going to beat 52. That's the minimum, because that's 1 book a week. And I've already read 7 books this month, so that shows you, my kind of average. But anyway, there we are. So that is that. Other stuff I've done, I finally, after several years of saying I'm going to do it, I finally did it. I made the vinyl collection video showing off all 31 albums that I have. That went up. Wasn't yesterday, like the day before yesterday. But I enjoyed making that video, but it was tiring because I had to keep getting up and getting the albums down from there and all that kind of stuff. But it was worth it. And then so every subsequent December after Christmas, I'm going to make another one of those videos where I show off all the albums I've got since. That's the plan. I explained all that in the video. So if anyone watching this, if you're interested in seeing what vinyl records I have, I've shown quite a lot of them off in videos anyway, like for Christmas or birthday, I'd show off the ones I got. And I've shown them off in some of the monthly updates as well. But nevertheless, I've done a video showing them all off and showing off all the little bits on the inside, which is something I didn't do in any of those other videos. So if you want to see the posters and gatefolds and all that kind of stuff, then you can only do that in the Vinyl Collection 2024 video. I mean, that's just what I've got it listed as here. The actual title is my entire vinyl record collection so far. And then the description, every single vinyl record I've collected since May 2022. So that's May 2022 to December, obviously, 2024. So that's that. Another thing I've done this month, or I haven't done it, but I've just uploaded it, literally just, like, less than an hour ago, I did this. Because I'd been putting it off the whole month, but I had to do it in December. I finally released the second single from the next Moid album, Decay Pieces. I really just couldn't be bothered. I said I was going to do it on Christmas Day, but I just couldn't be bothered. So I've had to do it like literally the last possible moment in December before doing this. So the song, I'm calling it a song. It's not really a song, but it's called Don't Play Around in the Snow Like That, You're Gonna Catch a Death of Cold. It's another much more experimental song. And then the full album will be coming out in February. I've been trying to keep up something every 2 months, but I haven't actually been recording any new music for several months now, because I just haven't really been able to be bothered. I mean, again, there's no point in forcing it, because if I force myself to do something, not only am I not going to enjoy it, but it's also not going to be any good either. I need to wait for the idea, for the inspiration to reach me, and then I'll do it, you know? So yeah, after February, when the full Decay Pieces album comes out, it may be quite a few months before anything else comes out. I've got about half an album after Decay Pieces, which is going to be Moid. Decay Pieces Moid 19, so Moid 20 will be the next one after that. And I've got about half of that. So, you know, none of the songs are really long enough. They're all very short songs, and so I don't know if they're long enough to come out as a single. But then some of the I've done short songs as singles, so it'll probably be alright. But anyway, that is everything I have done this month. Plans for next month? Well, I can do plans for next year, can't I? Because this is December. Plans for next year, as I said, I'm going to read at least 52 books next year, because that's 1 book a week. But it's going to be more than that. Hopefully collect some more vinyl records, hopefully get some more books. I'm going to do a book collection update. I've got a few books coming. I've got Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy on its way to me. I bought it before Christmas, but it didn't arrive in time, and it still hasn't arrived. Because it's coming from America, so it always takes ages to come. But when they arrive, I'm going to do a book collection update, much like the vinyl collection video, or book collection. It's not an update because it's the first one, but I'm going to do a book collection video, and then and at the end of the year, I'll do another one of them as well. I'm also going to do a tie collection update. That's what I said during the Christmas video, and I'm sticking to that. I need to organize them because they're just literally in any order. They're not actually really in an order, or they're in vaguely the order that I got them. But I need to order them properly. But anyway, so yeah, those are 2 videos you can look forward to coming to you fairly soon. A book collection video and a tie collection video. I collect a great deal of things. I like collecting things. I don't know why. I just like having stuff. I mean, you've probably noticed if you've ever seen my room in any videos, you know I like collecting stuff because I've got piles of stuff just everywhere. And the shelves, I really need to clear some of these shelves because if I'm going to be getting more books and more vinyl records, I really need to make room on these shelves. Like, I've got some Lego spaceships. Like, I've got the Lego Millennium Falcon, and I've got the spaceship, Benny's spaceship from the Lego movie. And I think I'm going to dismantle them and put them all back in their boxes so that I can maybe reassemble them at a later date if I ever have more room. But I just need to make room on these shelves because it's getting kind of ridiculous. Stuff's just piling on top of each other. I know roughly where everything is. I mean, some stuff I just dump in random places, but anything that I use on a regular basis, like my Bluetooth speaker, there, done, easy. You know, my pair of scissors, easy. Sunglasses, easy. But like anything slightly more, you know, anything that I use less is high. It tends to be higher up. But then even that's not true. I mean, I've got stuff here that like I never use. Like, you know, like this exercise ball is right there. But anyway, and then there's just stuff. I mean, the thing is, I want to clean this. I want to tidy it up, but I don't know what I'd do with the extra space. That's the thing. Like, I kind of like how this looks. I mean, it is just a pile of junk, but I like it. So I don't know. I mean, I can't do it on my own. I've asked my parents to help me several times, and they don't. So, you know, whatever. Then moving on to things I've watched this month. I didn't even complete the plans for next month. Plans for next month. Do gaming videos. Already told you that. Things I've watched this month. So I started out this month wanting to watch every single Stanley Kubrick film and fill in the 5 that I haven't already seen from him, which was Fear and Desire, Spartacus, Lolita, Barry Lyndon, and Eyes Wide Shut. I only got as far as Spartacus, and I didn't even finish Spartacus. I only got about halfway through it. It's just I hate historical epics like that. I just can't be bothered with that kind of film. But anyway, obviously we'll start. I stopped after Spartacus because I just couldn't be bothered anymore. But Fear and Desire, obviously I've only listed the ones that I've watched for the first time here. So Fear and Desire, which is his very first film, 1952, that is, not 52. Unless Jesus was there to watch it. Jesus wasn't alive in 52. Well, he wasn't alive at any point. Anyway, I very much liked Fear and Desire, actually. For his very first film, it's quite good. I actually think it's better than his following 2 films, which was Killer's Kiss and The Killing. I think it's better than both of those, personally. It's not great, but it's good. And then those next 2 are just, they're okay, but... Well, Killer's Kiss is I didn't like pretty much anything about it, except the very final scene where there's like a chase and then a fight scene. And then The Killing is not bad. The Killing is pretty good, but still, I think I preferred Fear and Desire. Paths of Glory is his first great film. That's the first great Stanley Kubrick film. And then Spartacus was crap. So that's that. Then I watched a film which I have intended to watch for a few years. I started watching it. I can't remember when, but I started watching it quite a few years ago. And just gave up on it halfway through because it was just too much for me at that time. But now I've watched it. I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen. Not in the top 10, but definitely one of the best. is Tetsuo the Iron Man from 1989. Now, I first watched this after I'd gotten into David Lynch, because I'd heard a lot of people compare it to Eraserhead. It's absolutely nothing like Eraserhead whatsoever. But I very much enjoyed it. And I came up with a theory, like halfway through watching it, that everything just suddenly clicked and I realised what was going on in the film. And I haven't heard any. I've watched a couple of other reviews of the film, and I haven't heard anyone else come up with this theory. But it's basically the basic plot of the film is it's about this guy who's into metal in a certain way that people are into things, if you know what I mean. He's into metal in that way. And he sticks some metal in him, and then a bit later he's hit by a car, and the two people in the car are two more people who are also into metal, and so they kind of abuse him again in that way. And then he kind of infects them with his metal thing, and then it goes kind of surreal towards the end. But most people do. I mean, obviously, I don't know if I'm right in my theory, but my idea is it's referred to as a cyberpunk film. Now, just watching the film, it doesn't feel like a cyberpunk film because it's not set in like a futuristic city. It's just filmed in a kind of rural neighborhood, so it doesn't feel very futuristic. But the thing is, if we assume that it is set in the future, because it's referred to as a cyberpunk film, so if we assume that it is set in the future, and this is something that I considered making a film talk video about, and I still might, and go into a bit more detail about it, but just in case I never do, because I'm very lazy, as you all know, I'm just going to explain it basically here. If we assume that it is set in the future, we can assume that there's probably robots, and there's probably nanobots, and like microscopic robots and stuff, because we assume that in the future, and they're working on this now, you know? Having like little tiny robots that can go around and fix anything. So if you have a piece of machinery that's broken, little tiny microscopic robots can go around and fix the stuff that's wrong with it. And they'd also be able to do like medical stuff. Like, so if someone's got like a big cut across them, the little robots could go in and could stitch the skin together at the microscopic level, you know? And this is, like I said, this is stuff that they are actually like starting to work on in real life. It's obviously not to the point where it's available yet, but they are starting and working on it. I believe, I've heard. I don't know if it's actually true, but it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, so if we assume that there are nanobots and everything, a broken piece of machinery is going to have a load of nanobots in it. So when the guy who's into metal sticks a piece of metal in him, he doesn't do it like that, he does it in his leg, but he's still doing it for that reason, you know. So he sticks a bit of metal in him. If we assume there's nanobots on that metal, that means the nanobots have then gone in him, and are kind of in his bloodstream, which would explain why he kind of, but towards the end of the film, he's able to control pieces of metal, and why he's able to infect the other characters with his metalness. Because if we assume it's set in the modern day, then it's just surrealist. And obviously I don't have anything against surrealist films, but it's referred to as a science fiction film, and it's referred to as a cyberpunk film. And so if we assume that it is set in reality, but just in the future of reality, I think that's a pretty solid explanation of what is actually happening. He sticks metal in him, there's nanobots in the metal, the nanobots get into his bloodstream and give him control over other pieces of metal. So that's what I think happened in the film. I don't know if that was intentional, I could very well just be reading into it, but I still think it's a pretty good explanation. And it's really the only thing that explains why it's considered a cyberpunk film. You hear it like on the Wikipedia page, it says, Tetsuo the Iron Man is a 1989 Japanese cyberpunk film. There's nothing cyberpunk in the film, so what cyberpunk must be the plot. You know? It's not a cyberpunk setting, so it must be a cyberpunk plot. And therefore, nanobots, therefore, I'm a genius. Roger Ebert kill yourself. I mean, that's nothing to do with this film. He should just do that anyway. I'm joking, of course. But I don't like him. Because he doesn't like David Lynch, and he who doesn't like David Lynch is not liked by me. Then I watched a documentary called Gorilla. Well, this is interesting because it was filmed in 1974. And then I believe David Niven did the narration. And then later on, what's his name? Andrew Sachs did the narration again in 1998. So that's why in the description it says 1974/98, because it was recorded in 74, the film. It was filmed in 74, but then the narration was recorded in 1998. But if any of you watching this have seen that famous clip of that guy just sort of standing still as this huge gorilla sort of runs up to him and sort of right at him, and he's just sort of standing there like, as it comes right up to him, and he just stands there completely intimidated. That's from this documentary. Adrian De Shiver. And it's just a really interesting documentary. It's quite sad. I'm not gonna tell you what. I'll leave that up to you to figure out if you ever watch it. But I found it finally on YouTube. It's really hard to get hold of. I had to follow like a rabbit hole to get to it. I mean, it's not something you can just find. As a matter of fact, I found a Spanish version of it before I found the English version. That's how difficult it is to find. But the video, obviously I've linked it here. But the full title of the video is CH5, which is Channel 5. CH5 Call of the Wild Gorilla, narrated by Andrew Sachs, January 1998, and it's on a channel called Edutainment. Really hard to find, but I finally tracked it down, and it was worth the, it was worth the effort. But it's the kind of thing where it's much nicer if you can just come across something, you know? I mean, I couldn't come across this documentary. I had to really search for it. And obviously most people aren't willing to do that. Some people are, because, I mean, the very top comment on that video is someone saying, finally found it. So obviously I wasn't the only one who went out of my way. But it was quite hard to get a hold of. But I did. And then that got me into... because when I was... Like every child in England, in school, I was showed quite a few David Attenborough documentaries. And watching that Gorilla documentary, even though it's not David Attenborough, it... Like... I don't know, it just got me back in the mood to watch some David Attenborough stuff. And so I started out with Zoo Quest in colour. Because some of the stuff I watched at school, I think they showed us some of Blue Planet and some of Planet Earth. That's the kind of stuff that I was shown in school. But we never watched the full series. And as a matter of fact, I think we watched Blue Planet 2 in school. And I wanted to watch it so badly that the teachers actually gave me the DVD to take home. I still don't think I actually ended up watching it in full. I'm going to make up with that in the following months. Because after I watched Zoo Quest in colour, which I've never seen Zoo Quest, the original Zoo Quest, but I knew, because I'd seen clips of it, that it was shot in colour and it was just broadcast in black and white at first, but obviously then they scanned the film and they made this documentary called Zoo Quest in colour, which is kind of a documentary of the documentary, because it's David Attenborough, or David Attenborough in 2016 and the cameraman, who shot Zoo Quest with him, looking back at Zoo Quest, just interspersed with colour clips from Zoo Quest. I don't think the full Zoo Quest series has been released with all the colour footage incorporated back into it, because obviously it wasn't all shot in colour, like in the studio, because it was a partially studio-bound show, and then there were also segments on location. The on-location segments were shot in colour. all the studio stuff, because it was just going straight out to the TV, that was just done in black and white, so there's no colour of that. But I don't know if you can find ZooQuest on DVD, but I imagine if you can, it's probably all in black and white. And I don't know if they've done it in colour. I don't know if, because obviously this documentary is only an hour and a half. And in the documentary itself, they say there's actually 6 hours worth of colour footage that they found. So obviously there's a lot of it that hasn't been released yet. Assuming they haven't done what I think they should do, which is take ZooQuest, and then where you have the colour footage, insert that in. So just release the full ZooQuest series just with the colour bits interspersed. But they haven't done that. They just did a sort of behind the scenes thing. But this was still a really good documentary. And then that got me into something else, which I haven't listed it here because I haven't finished it. I'm only about 5 episodes. I'm only about 5 episodes in, but I have started watching Life on Earth, which is another David Attenborough documentary that he did in 1979, which tracks evolution from it's called Life on Earth, so it tracks the evolution of life on Earth from the tiniest bits of bacteria and viruses and single-celled organisms. So far, he's gotten about as far as insects and fish. That's as far as he's got. The most advanced life forms that he's discussed. I'm only 5 episodes in, as I said. So he's gotten the most advanced life forms he's got to so far are butterflies and salmon. That's about as far as he's got. He's gotten to butterflies and salmon. Which also shows you, because each episode is an hour long, and I'm 5 hours into the show, pretty much. Slightly less, because they're only about 55, but I'm approximately 5 hours into the documentary. And he's gotten to butterflies and salmon as the most advanced forms of life that we have so far. Which shows you how much, which I'm not complaining about, because it means he goes into really specific detail about stuff, which I love detail. I don't like the big picture. I like to know the big picture, and I also like to know all the tiny little bits as well. And it goes into the tiny bits in the documentary, like to the point where how a crane fly stabilizes in the air, and it has these little sort of, the wings go up and down, and then it has these other little weights that kind of swing up and down again in the opposite direction of the wings to stabilize it in the air. Now, I hate crane flies. Crane flies are the worst invention. They're my least favorite. They forget arachnophobia. I hate spiders, but crane flies are worse than spiders. Crane flies are the invention. If there's a Satan, he invented crane flies. I despise them. But it was still fascinating to see it, you know? Episode 3 was the hardest to watch because that one was about spiders, mainly. So that, obviously I still enjoyed watching it from an educational standpoint, but it was very hard to I had to look away from the screen at several occasions because I hate spiders. But nevertheless, I'm very much enjoying that documentary. Once I've finished it, which I'm going to finish it, of course, some point next month, I'll add the link, and you guys can watch it as well. And I'm in the process of watching the next series of My Little Pony as well. I haven't stopped. I've just slowed down. Rather than two episodes a day, I'm only doing 1 episode a day, and obviously not every single day. So, even though I have been watching it since, the 1st of December, I haven't finished it, which is why it's not linked in the description. But I want to talk about it anyway. I want to talk about Life on Earth. My Little Pony, it's fun. Again, it's not a masterpiece. It's not up there with Life on Earth. It's not up there with, 2001: Space Odyssey. It's not up there with Doctor Who. It's not the greatest television program of all time, by any means. But it's just a bit of fun. It's just a little fluffiness, It's like this fella. Should an adult man, which is what I am now, believe it or not, maybe on the outside, maybe not on the inside, but on the outside, should an adult man be cuddling at night, be cuddling a little stuffed polar bear? Probably not. But look at him. Look. Are you telling me you don't want to cuddle Lars? Look at Lars. Hello, I am Lars. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Man has mental breakdown, colorized, 1924. And it's the same with My Little Pony. It's just nice and fluffy. Anyway, so that's everything I've watched this month. Everything I've listened to this month. I've only listened to one album. I really haven't been in a musical mood, to be honest. So I listened to one album. I listened to Elton John's very first album from 1969 called Empty Sky. It was alright. I mean, I've only listened to it once. I can't really remember, but there was some, like... There's a song called Western Ford Gateway. That's definitely the best song on the album, Western Ford Gateway. That I remember, anyway. And so that's that. So... And then I think that's it, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty good live stream. 32 minutes going to be in a few seconds. So yeah. Recap, if you can only consume one thing I've made, make it the Vinyl Collection 2024 video. It is an hour long, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But just scroll through the time bar, because I always hold up the album I'm talking about. So if you scroll through the timeline, you can see what album I'm talking about at the time. So if you're interested in it, you can click on that and scroll through and see if I talk about any albums you're interested in, and you can see what I think about them. Then if you can only watch one thing I've watched this month, make it ZooQuest in colour. Educate yourself about our planet. It's a beautiful place. If you only want to watch one fictional thing that I've watched, make it Tetsuo the Iron Man. If you only want to watch one documentary, make it ZooQuest in colour. Because it was just fantastic. I mean, Life on Earth is already better, but that's just because it's longer, you know. I mean, the more David Attenborough, the better. Obviously, if you can only listen to one album, make it the one album that I've listened to this month. But yeah, that is it. Bish bash bosh. That is all for this time, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. I hope you've enjoyed December, and I hope you've enjoyed 2024. And I hope you have an even better 2025. I'm fairly certain I will. Because I'm going to get back into a lot more reading. So yeah, I like reading. Do you like reading? What do you like reading? Text messages? Did you know that there's electric fish? Good night.